you joy this year? What is giving you joy today? I had a bit of an interruption to my week this week. Have a watch of this.
Hello. You might be able to see that I'm in my car because my day's been a bit interrupted. I'd come down to the food bank in Bognor to help move some stock from the hub over to Bognor Methodist Church, and I'd done one load, came back and loaded the car full of bags for another, and the car wouldn't start, and something to do with the battery I think has gone, and I'm waiting for the recovery to come. That was at 1:45. It's now just gone 5 o'clock, so it's been about 3 hours. Didn't think it would be this long. It's a bit cold, but it's all right. I've made some phone calls and done some bits and pieces, but it's definitely not the day that I had planned, not the afternoon I had planned, and it's getting a bit hard to keep waiting and waiting and waiting. It's 5:30 and I'm still waiting. I keep getting a text every 20 or 30 minutes or so saying, we haven't forgotten you, we're on our way, we've just been delayed, and just still waiting. But, thinking about it, it reminds me a lot of the Christmas story, because throughout the Old Testament, it's full of promises that God is going to come and God is going to come and God is going to save. And the people, I wonder how they felt when they were just still waiting and still waiting and still waiting. But it came, and I know that at some point the recovery van will come for me. God came to us. God came to us in Jesus. God interrupted the world in marvellous light and brought Jesus, the light of the world, to us, to bring us hope, to bring us salvation, to bring us love, and to show us a better way to live. So while I'm still waiting, I hope and pray that you know that actually we're not still waiting, because Jesus is here, Jesus is among us, Jesus is with us. And I pray that you know Jesus is with you right now today.
Well, by 7:30, my rescuer, the recovery truck, still hadn't turned up, and I was starting to feel a bit hopeless. I'd called a number of times and they just couldn't even give me an ETA, and I was starting to get quite cold and my phone battery was at 8%, and at that point I realised something that I hadn't realised before, which I had jump leads in the car, and I thought maybe it's worth trying to jump start the car to see if it's just the battery. At which moment a friend pulls up totally unexpectedly, and so we wire our cars up together. They gave me a jump, the car actually starts, and then they followed me home. My waiting was finally interrupted by joy in a way that I wasn't expecting. I wish now that I'd looked for the jump leads earlier. I wish now that I'd taken more action. I wish now that I'd realised that I had the tools I needed to journey onwards and to journey home. But I kept sitting and waiting because it'll just be another 30 minutes. I talked last week about John the Baptist, who was a cousin of Jesus, who God called to prepare the way for Jesus to arrive. And John kept telling people, the promised one is coming, the promised one is coming. But the people had been waiting for so many years, they'd got so used to life in the waiting. And some were losing hope. Others were starting to think that John was the coming one. No one seemed ready for God's promises. No one was ready for God's promises to come true in the way that they did. Jesus came to earth, interrupted the world in such an unexpected way as a little vulnerable baby, to rescue us, to show God's faithfulness to us, to journey with us, to give us joy. So don't be like me. Don't keep waiting, thinking rescue is coming, because Jesus has already interrupted the world. Friends, Jesus is here. Jesus has rescued us. And Jesus is with us, journeying with us. And the wonderful truth that gives offers us joy. Friends, may your life be interrupted with joy. Tell out, my soul, the greatness of the Lord. Unnumbered blessings give my spirit voice, tender to me the promise of his words. In God my Saviour shall my heart rejoice.